like I said, the rest of the small facilities, particularly our industrial condo complexes, I can tell you that there's some that we haven't been in years.
Great, thank you.
Trustee Hein.
Do we charge a fee for any of these inspections?
No, we do not charge for inspections. It's adopted as part of our codes to do that. Obviously, in the past, it's been viewed that that's part of what a business license pays for. Again, that's a policy decision by you.
Getting back to what you said, that a lot of these places we have in our industrial park are very specialized, and they bring a complexity of issues relative to safety. Wouldn't it be wise for us to come up with a plan for working out an inspection basis where we would be charging a fee depending on the complexity of that inspection and what's involved, so that we can generate some fees so we can pay for these inspectors?
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that, Trustee Hein. In 2008, I made a presentation to the board at that time and showed them a whole series of options for fees associated with fire prevention. And again, at that time, the board that was seated here said that was part of the business licenses and rejected that recommendation.
Okay, it's now 2012, we're going into 2013. Maybe it's time that we look at it again of some way to generate a means of getting more personnel into your department to do the job that you're trying to do. The same fee is probably being charged that we did in 2008 as now, and yet we're getting all kinds of different types of industrial people, the restaurant people, everything getting very complex with chemicals and so on and so forth. You brought that up in your presentation. I think that we should be looking at some type of means of charging for these a fee. They will probably get a better rate from their insurance company if we do go in there and give recommendations and such, and I don't know if that's possible. I'm just throwing these things out. But I, for one, would look to generating some funds so that we can do this.
Trustee Jersey.
Just to piggyback on what you're saying, other communities, I know for a fact, are putting the burden on the companies themselves on an annual basis to provide a certificate regarding inspections by a qualified consultant that is approved by that municipality. Why not put more of the burden on the business itself? Why not put more of the burden on the business itself? Upon renewal of a business license, you have to present yourself with a certificate. Unlike the liquor license, you have to present yourself with Bassett training certificate for those who are be handling liquor. This is the kind of mentality and the way I think we should start thinking of doing things differently. We put the burden on us, staff, who is limited in a lot of spots, and I do respect that. There's only so many bodies that can handle so much. But why not come with a different way, the way we do business today, and put that burden on the PAC teams or the bed guys and this guy and that guy? Say, you know what, your business license is coming up. Here's a list of approved that we feel are consultants to do your inspection. We need that certificate. When we get it, you'll get your license. Just a thought. But I think this is the way we need to start thinking here. Because to add more personnel to do the job that you're so worried about, which I agree with, there are lots of companies out there that haven't seen a fire inspector in years, tens of years. And that needs to get closer to reality.
Trustee Lang.
Madam President, can I just interject for a second? I think what might make the most sense is to come back to the board with a presentation on what the options are. We've come to the board a number of times with the idea of raising fees, with the idea of charging, whether it's the resident for services rendered or a company for services rendered, and the board has many times turned them down. And that's fine. As Trustee Hines said, this is 2012. Things are a little different. Maybe we need to readdress it. I think the best way to do that is we can put a presentation together again and look at the way we charge these fees and maybe get some movement forward that way. So I apologize for interrupting.
No, that actually answers my question. But the one thing I want to avoid is too much of a burden on business and losing a business-friendly atmosphere. Too much. You know, let's kind of come halfway with it.
I agree, but you want to know, for their protection and everything else, sometimes the burden's the other way, too.
True. But let's, you know.
Got to find a happy medium. And I think most businesses would welcome having that control of hiring somebody that we're comfortable with and just getting it over with for their own protection. And then insurance companies, with big companies, require it as well. They want to make sure things are in order. So it's a benefit for everybody, not a burden.
With a business license, everybody has to pay a business license. You only pay for an inspection when you have an inspection. So it might be a year or two or whatever. So it's a come as get the service, get the responsibility done, have a fee for it.
Trustee Manager Fundelis.
We'll bring that to the board.
Thank you.